welcome to the latest edition of UPCO Project Podcast. This is Francis San Diego. Today, I have a very special guest with us. It's none other than Miss Marilyn Scott-Waters. Hi, Miss Marilyn.
Hi, Francis. Great to be here.
Yes, it's great. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so excited to have you as a guest. Let's get on it, shall we?
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, let's start off with you introducing yourself and what do you do, Miss Marilyn?
My name is Marilyn Scott-Waters, and I'm known as the Toymaker from thetoymaker.com. And I am a paper engineer. I make paper toys, and my website is filled with hundreds of paper toys that are easy to make for people to download. And my goal is to help grown-ups and kids spend time together making things. That's what I do.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah. So, what inspired you to focus on creating free paper toys and crafts for the families?
I always grew up, my mom was an art major, and she always encouraged us to make and do and entertain ourselves. So we just grew up with scissors and paper and paints and crayons. And when I started working at home, a bit of my background was before our son was born, I was a product designer. I designed surfwear. Part of my background is that I was a product designer. I designed surfwear, magazines, printwear. And when I started my own business, when our son was about 3 years old, I was making nothing but cargo pants. And it was very dull. And so to bribe my inner child, I would do 7 hours of cargo pant designs, and I would let myself make something fun out of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the paper toys came from. I had a closet of them. I literally would have bags of these things, and I would just start making paper toys.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. In your experience with that, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered?
When I have one of the oldest websites in continuous existence for paper toys for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so one of the first challenges was to learn how to use Dreamweaver, how to actually set up a website, do the code and things like that. And I just thought it would be for a few people and my friends, but it gained a lot of momentum. At the time, they had a lot of mommy bloggers. And so people would link to my website because all the fun toys that people could make, and it went viral.
Oh, how long has the website been up already?
Since 2003.
Oh, 2003.
So over 20 years. So it's
over 20 years.
And I just keep adding paper toys and fun things to do for people to download, and it's been fun.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, like I mentioned, you've been a family friend. We've known each other for
decades now. Yeah.
Like I think it's 16 years when I first saw you. So it's been a long journey for us. So it's been interesting. So just to share with the audience that we have in here, they are a family of intelligent, smart people. So I learned a lot from them. So with Sir Jim, Miss Marilyn, and Susan, they're really smart people that I've known and very kind and really helpful for our family. So it goes. I've had Jim as a guest also in my previous podcast show, and I'm fortunate enough to have Miss Marilyn here with me right now. The theme of our show is about the sandwich generation. So I've had an initial discussion with Miss Marilyn about this, and I shared to her my goal for this one. And that's why I'm like really eager to have her as a guest, because I know she's also there in the trade. Like she mentioned, she's been doing this for decades now. We're not going to mention about the actual numbers, but it's been decades that she's been helping out families in creating this bond because of the paper toys that you've created. My follow-up question, Miss Marilyn, is with that paper toys that you've been building, how do you balance the creativity with the business aspect of running the Toymaker? Maybe you can share it to us.
One of the things, you have to be good at multitasking and priorities. A couple things. If you're a parent and you have children of your own, young children. One of the things we did when our son, who's now grown, was young, we would do Monday model night. And we would all sit, and Joel, our son, would do Legos. I would do my paper things. My husband would build model planes. And one of the wonderful things about getting together and creating things is that when kids' hands are working and they're painting, they're drawing, you're sitting at a table, they start talking. And that is so important. And I'm proud to say that our son has told us that has a great relationship with his parents. And I think of anything I've ever done in my life, that is probably the gold star. I'll wear a sash.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think, but if you're starting up your own business, like one of the things is just to be consistent and realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. That you have your routines. And so every month, for years, I've made little toys. This is the one I'm working on. That's going to be the next one. And this is it's just one little piece of paper.
Correct.
You print it out, and I've taped it together so you can see. It's a little easel.
Yeah.
And it comes with a little adventure awaits thing.
Correct.
Super easy to make. Doesn't take any kind of just glue, scissors, maybe a piece of tape. And then you have something fun. Let me show you some new ones. This is a super easy little book you can make. And it's just one piece of paper. This is one of the first ones I did. So you just you print this out, you fold it like this, you cut, and then you fold it, and then you have this little circus book, and it's just fun, and you can look at the pictures. And I also have templates where you can make your own book, and that's really where the creativity gets going. I have instructions. I make these I call these art snacks. I have hundreds of these little sketchbooks I make. I just keep them on my desk. Kids can color in them. They're super easy to make. And then you can just have artwork.
Like
this is some of my artwork. Yeah,
that's
you can just glue pictures or paper dolls, things. Fun. This toy is on my website. This is a little more complicated, but if you had an older child that was really wanted to make something magical, it's called a rarity show, and you can see all the things.
And
in
you
the
said that
background,
it's available on your website, right? To download when they
all
purchase
these are,
it.
Yeah.
That's
they can
great.
download
Later
those.
on, we're gonna talk about how they're going to access those artwork for them to use for their families. So that's really interesting that you've started off with this. Then getting back to what you mentioned, Joel is also like an artist. It turned out to be an artist. I've known him since he was I'm really like saying that he turned out to be a great, intelligent, smart young man. So
he does professional cosplay. He sells props.
Correct.
And it's all about the manias here. We are all making stuff. So
I know. That's
great.
why you're creative. Your family is a creator by nature. You do create some stuff, and it's really interesting to see how you've turned out to be creative in the creative aspect of life. Or should we say?
I think it's good. It's so important for children to have a chance to play, and also to experiment. And I think one of the wonderful things about making things out of paper is it's just paper. So if it doesn't work out, you can just toss it and try something different. And so many of the things that I'm working on now are all about asking, well, what would happen if, like, for example, here's a kind of a process. I saw this is just a little thing that goes like this.
Correct.
And it goes back in like this. And I think that's so cool. So I could do a mermaid. I could do a snake. I think I have a finished one here. How fun is this? So you could do this with your kids.
Oh, it's sliding.
Yep, that's our cats, Sam and Mr. Kittles. And then when you want it to go back, you can go like that. Super easy to make, but then you're working on fine motor skills. You could have an elephant surprise, and you're creating something fun together. That's
together as a family. Yeah.
You're not just on your screen.
Correct, correct. And yeah, like nowadays, these days, it's really hard, especially for the families out there. It's really tough to make a bond with your families, especially with the kids, when they have their own gadgets. That's why a lot of
Hmm.
families are there are struggling because they don't know how to bond with their kids. And we're fortunate enough to know you that you can provide those type of bonding activities for the families that they can do as a family. So again, next question would be in terms of like your projects that you have currently, what are the specific projects from the toy maker that you think can be particularly engaging? Like in your own experience, what are the projects that you've done or created that are really highly engaging for families that you know?
It depends on the age level. And
Mhm.
I think there's one that I have on my website that's called Wind Boats. And
Wind
we did
boats.
these with Cub Scouts. And they're just these little paper boats that you're two pieces, super easy to make. And then you can race them.
Hmm.
And so you make your boat and then you have the races and you blow them across the table, you blow them across the floor. There are a lot of toys that you can actually play with once you've made them. And so that would be a good, easy example. If you want to make something more complicated, say you have a junior high or high school kid that wants to make something, this is a little swan castle that's you can cut out and make. It's
Interesting.
just little pieces that you can print out and make something. And another fun thing about some of the paper toys is they'll fit in an envelope and you can mail it as a gift. I
Mail.
love it when people give the toys to somebody. Like, here's just a little box you can make.
Correct.
You can print out, fill with a little cupcake or something, some cookies, and give it to a friend. It helps kids be generous. It makes them think of others. Just giving, you could make a little book and give it to someone and make them smile.
That's great. That's great to hear. Maybe you can share to us, Miss Marilyn, about can you walk us through your creative process when you're creating, like when you started creating or you're creating like a new toy or design. So what's your
Mm-hmm.
creative process like though?
Stage is I will make what's called a white. A good example. For example, would be a white. This is just what we saw before. This
Mhm.
is just, there's no graphics on it at all. I'm just trying to figure out how can I use this? How can I move this? From
Correct.
there, the next step, I would design the artwork that goes on it.
Mm.
And that's where we came up with this version where I just quickly painted the the kitty cats there,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the surprise. Now, the next step, say I wanted to put this on the website, I would refine the graphics.
Hmm.
I would have to create a PDF that would be downloadable and make a link on my website where you could click the button
Hmm.
and print your piece of paper out to make the toy.
Oh, that's great. Nice. How are you doing, Miss Marilyn? Everything good?
Everything good? Yes, I'm
You
excited.
can,
Toys,
you can
toys.
oh, that's really good. That's great.
Tiny break.
Where do you find your inspiration for your designs, though, and how do you ensure they may remain fresh and appealing across different age groups?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm always learning. I'm always taking classes. Recently, I've started to learn how to use watercolor. So I
Hmm.
have my watercolor box ready to go. I
Hmm.
can just start drawing old books. The
Hmm.
internet is a wonderful resource, but I have probably 100 books on paper crafts from 1900, paper toys, art in schools. So there are always fun ways to places in the past to get ideas. And so take something as simple as a matchbox. Okay. This is based on a matchbox. It says, oh no, there are polar bears everywhere. And all right, there are polar bears. Watch out.
Oh, okay.
Polar
Nice.
bears.
See,
And
really creative.
so you take a real basic shape idea of a matchbox,
Hmm.
little slidey box, and then you can
Hmm.
make a whole world in there.
Yeah. Oh, on the side note, guys, for the audience out here or out there, Miss Marilyn built a huge following right now. Maybe you can share to
Oh,
us about your followers right now. I'm really happy to say that I've known somebody who has had a huge following. Maybe you can share to us
oh,
about that one and how did it start? And maybe you can share to our viewers. And currently, how many followers do you have on your list?
I have 25,000 people on my mailing list,
Wow.
and um, and now some of them are grandparents, and they make the paper toys for their kids, which is so
Kids.
exciting.
Yeah.
And they've been long time subscribers, and it's just a great community. Everyone's so kind. And so I send out about, I was for a long time every month, but now about every few months, I'll
Mhm.
send a little newsletter out with a new toy. There's tons of holidays. Every holiday you can think of, there's a
Mhm.
paper toy for it. There's a little on my website that says holidays. Go for it.
Ah, that's great. Yeah, like you mentioned about the community, right?
Hmm.
So, what do you think have you contributed to to the community, and what sort of feedbacks do you always get, like when you started off Toymaker?
I've had emails from all over the world, from New Zealand, Africa, Hong Kong. I've had just the kindest emails in the world that people have said thank you. And it's very inspiring. You want to just make more toys. The best email out of the many thousands of them, it was a girl who's now grown up, and she said, I'm a teacher now, but when I grew up, my childhood was not particularly happy, but your website was a wonderful, magical place. And I grew up loving to make little tiny things and fairies, and it was like a safe, secure place, world for her to escape to. And I thought, and now she's gone on to be a teacher and
Wow.
work with children.
Yeah, I
That's,
guess from what I envision, Miss Marilyn, it's more of if they're like if they know about what you do and they've done it, they turned out to be some of them are turned out to be teachers, right? And they use
oh,
probably they use that to their students as well.
I hope so. That would be
Yeah.
great. Yes,
That's really fulfilling, and it's
mhm,
inspirational because you tend to stay in touch with the, let's say, their kids or their young adults. Then they turn out to be they're still with your list, or
mhm,
they're in contact with you.
yeah.
So I guess what sort of advice that can you share to, like, let's say, aspiring creators or similar to what you've done? Maybe you can share to us what are some of the tips that if they wanted to do this, and how can they start?
In terms of producing a product or in
Correct.
terms of
Yeah,
building a
let's start off with
following?
producing a product, probably. Then we'll go from the business aspect.
I think the first thing to do is be consistent, and you're making your product, make it the best thing that you can. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid to experiment.
Correct.
Just try a lot of stuff and see what may take off. Because sometimes that one thing you think, oh, nobody's going to buy that thing, that could be your best selling or your most popular thing.
Correct.
And consistency. Just a lot of times people, they'll go for a month or two
Hmm.
and then they're not getting immediate response and they're like, that's not, but give it some genuine time.
Hmm. That's good. That's great to hear. That it's really powerful that you've given us those inspirational words or motivational words. Then with that one, I know for a fact that it's a lot of work. It tends to take a lot of time in creating some stuff that such as yourself that have done. So now maybe I can next question will be in this day and age, which is like all digital, like a creator such as yourself, which is like what you mentioned, old school way, paper stuff. How did you adapt in terms of like in this digital age? What sort of, let's say, advancements or improvements have you done so far?
It's all just changing so fast. And so
Mhm.
sometimes you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you have to just keep running just
Correct.
to stay in the same place, but to keep learning new things.
Hmm.
And I think circling back to part of building your brand is to have a very clear brand,
Hmm.
know what your purpose is, and to build your following, definitely have a mailing list,
Correct.
because you can have followers on Instagram or Facebook or some of these other platforms, but it's not the same as a direct email. I've had books published for about 10 years. I did children's book illustration, and I would post on Facebook, hey, I have a book out. And then everybody would say, that's great. But the numbers wouldn't move really. But if I
Mm-hmm.
sent an email personally to my followers, then all of a sudden Amazon would tick up and the
Yeah.
publisher would be happy and that kind of thing.
You also are available in Amazon, right?
I believe I still have some books in print on Amazon, and I also have a PDF download, the Mysterious Math Carnival,
Mm-hmm.
which is a 10 math toys you can print out that help kids make math fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's $9.99, something like about
Yeah.
$10.
Yeah, nice one. I have a feeling that some of the teachers out here across, I guess you mentioned across the globe, have tried using your material, your product in their own, I don't know what you call it, like teachings or something like that. In their own, if they're teaching in their class, that they have those paper toys for them to do in the class for the.
In Colorado, I had a museum, a children's museum, and they took the paper toys and they made big versions of them.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was so fun. I have these little turtles, and you put them on marbles, and you can roll them up the number line and add up the numbers, and it's super fun. And they made big versions of everything, and it was actually did it twice. It was so successful.
Oh, wow. Big versions in what sense, though? Let's say from your book, they expanded it, they make it bigger?
Yes, one of the toys that you can, with the Math Carnival, they're little paper fish, and with it, you put on a piece of string, you have a little fishing rod, and with a bent paper clip, and you fish, and then you add up the numbers, and then the winner is the one who has the highest number, the most points. They made bigger versions for the kids to play with. And so hopefully it made math fun. And that was the whole goal, to make learning those times tables and addition, subtraction, which just takes practice. If you make it
Yeah.
a game, then you're
Right.
going to get good.
Oh, that's great. It's remarkable to see your work as being acknowledged, I believe.
Yeah.
Really good. It's really, for me, you will feel fulfilled in a sense that you've been recognized that you provided that, and they're like using it to share to the others, which is really great. So I guess next up is looking back at your journey. What has been the most rewarding aspect of running a toy maker, or your own professional experience?
Just the opportunity to think that it met my goal of helping grown-ups and kids spend time together making things. That's a way to make the world a better place. Children need our love and our attention. There's a great quote: children spell love T-I-M-E.
Time.
M-E.
Oh,
So,
time.
so
Read down a little bit. Oh, Time. What's
yes,
that? Oh, yeah, there you go. Time.
T-I-M-E. Yeah,
That's
so
great.
children spell love T-I-M-E. And especially little kids, that
Mhm.
they just want your attention and time. And so even if you're just coloring, you're making paper dolls, you're making
Correct.
fish, you're
Correct.
making here's a little bear wagon, you can print this out,
Nice.
and then you can play with it.
Yeah. And play with
Then,
our imagination as well with that
yeah,
toys. Yeah,
yes,
that's really
there's so
great.
many. Um, and when you're celebrating holidays, if you can print out paper toys that have to do with it helps kids. That's one of the first things they study. Kindergarten, first grade is all the holidays, Valentine's
Holiday.
Day,
Correct.
oh,
Yeah, that's
things
great.
like
That's
that.
great. So, with all the years that you've had and you've been running Toymaker, how do you still stay motivated and inspired to continue creating artworks?
How can I not? Because it's
Yep,
fun to
true.
make stuff. It's just almost every day. It's a habit. For example, here, one I was just playing with, this is just, I colored these flowers and I thought, cool, this would make a fun card.
Correct.
So I don't
That's
know what I'll
nice.
do with this yet, but it's something you could make, and you could put it in an envelope. You could send it to your grandmother. You could mail
Yeah.
it to a friend. You could use it to decorate a table at a party. So it just keeps coming.
Yeah, that will be feel so nostalgic to for, let's say, for example, for the adults right now, let's say the
Mm-hmm.
grandparents who've seen your work, and now if the kids, hopefully after this episode that we reach out to the sandwich generation, which is our goal, like
Mm-hmm.
there is some activities that you can do, and such as what you've been doing or what you done so far. I know for a fact that they're gonna go a long way because of your creativity. And you said that you how can you not stay motivated with all the possible that you can do. Mm.
Yeah, and
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Marilyn.
I think, and part of being the sandwich generation is I've been fortunate to my parents were less than a mile away, but
Hmm.
not everyone has that
Correct.
luxury.
Correct.
And I think one of the things about the paper toys, one thing about being able to make toys is you can sit with your kids and make something to put in an envelope to send to the other side of the world or wherever your
Yeah,
loved
mail it
ones
in.
may be.
Correct. Correct.
And vice versa. I think I have a lot of people who are my age or older who grew up making paper dolls or playing with paper, and they can make cut out little things to put in an envelope to mail to their grandkids. And for
Correct.
a price of a stamp, it's just magic. You can do that.
Yeah, that's great. This is remarkable and so inspiring to know that there are some ways that you can do in order to have a bonding moment for your kids, especially with your work, which is a toy maker. It's really, how do I say this? Like, for me, definitely with Timmy, wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that he's also interested in if you're doing some like books, colored books and such. With that
Mm-hmm.
one, with yours, there you need to cut it out and pretend that you're playing, let's say, the toys and something like that, which is really interesting to do with your kids. So I guess
Mm-hmm.
just to end, where can our listeners find your work and stay updated with the Toymaker's latest projects? Because I know for a fact that once we get this out, that they might be interested in checking out your work. Maybe you can share to us where can they follow you or reach out to you.
You can find me at the Toymaker, all one word, .com, www.thetoymaker.com. You can
Hmm.
also follow me on Patreon if you like the work I
Hmm.
do, and you want to support me. I have a Patreon channel, and I send out like twice a year. For example, everyone got in the mail these little elephants, super
Nice.
cute. And so then you can take your picture of whatever you're working on.
Guys,
Um,
just so she has shown to us, I guess, 10 different toys that she has done. You can imagine that how many more toys she has done before.
make sure if your printer is has paper in it. So,
Yeah, definitely. So
and
there's a
there
lot of papers to use.
and there's a one button that is black and white toys. That so if you want to color your own,
Hmm.
you can print them out and make your own designs. I encourage
Wow.
that. Be creative.
Wow. That's great. This is really fun. And first of all, I wanted to thank you very much for your time. I
Thanks,
know we've
sure.
come a long way, and we've both been, for me and my family, Christina, we were really thankful to know you guys, the Scotts, the Waters. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, we really are thankful for you guys because without you, we wouldn't be here. And I've learned a lot from you
Oh,
and the Scots. So with all the work, right?
oh gosh, wow. It's
Yeah,
been a long journey, but thank you
long
so much
journey. Yeah,
for being
which
part
is
of our family. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. So anyway, any final words of wisdom or encouragement that you can share to our audience? Maybe you can give them a thing or two in terms of like how to go about life, how to take care of the families and such.
I think at the end of the day, you just try your best.
Mhm.
And the more loving you can be, the closer you can be to your family, the more you can take care of your family and friends. That's what's really important in life. And one of my favorite sayings is that life is like a jewelry store where someone switched all the price tags around, and people go through life thinking they need a bigger house or something, fur coat or whatever. But really just having a close family and friends you can rely on and kids that still talk to you when they're grown up, that's better than anything that I can think of. So that's my philosophy in life.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, thank you very much, Miss Marilyn, for taking the time and being one of our guests here in the show. And hopefully we can do some work together in terms of providing some artwork. We'll never know.
Yeah, let's do. I'd be happy to. We'll
Yeah.
get some
We'll do
demonstration.
some
I'll show
demo
you how
for
to make
the
something.
guys. Yeah, correct. Okay. All right, guys. I would like to thank you very much for joining us with our guest, Miss Marilyn Scott-Waters. There you go. That's
Thank
the
you for
correct one.
having me. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
UBCO, Unemployed Pinoy CEO, Unemployed Pinoy CEO. What's your story? What's your humble beginning? How did it happen? Come on and share it with the world. Be an inspiration throughout every nation. Tell me your story. Let's show the world we can. Let's go, go, go. UBCO, UBCO, Unemployed Pinoy CEO.